Good morning, welcome. Today we will have our second session about foraging. This time I will show you how you might cook up some of the things you've collected. The first one we will work with is the stinging nettle. Remember, it can give you a rash to your skin. If you hold it like this, it doesn't hurt. If you eat it, it also doesn't hurt. So one of my favorite dishes, which we will make today, is a Greek spinach pie, but instead of the spinach or half spinach, half stinging nettles, we can use this plant. So to begin with, I've been going out this morning early to pick more stinging nettles because you need a lot. Just when you think you have enough, you need about twice as much. So I went out this morning to pick some more nettles and I found they're all starting to bloom. We're reaching the end of the season. So they are only good when they're really young and fresh, at least to my mind. People have used stinging nettles when there was nothing else to eat, but we will use them anyway, just because they are so good. Now, first of all, we have to wash them. And I use my gloves for washing them. Some people might be tough and do it with bare hands, but I use gloves. So here we go to the sink. You would do the same with the spinach. You would take off the tough stems and just use the leaves. So you can sort of strip them down, and then I put them into a colander to rinse them off. If you have a salad spinner, you can use that. Mine has walked away, so right now I just use a colander. Here we go. We take off the little leaves. In the very top, you don't have to take off the stem because it's very tender. But you want the tough part. We will start to heat up some oil in the frying pan. I have a nice big cast iron frying pan. And we will take some oil. The Greeks, of course, used olive oil a lot. So I will use about 1/4 cup of olive oil. Okay, now we chop our scallions. Put the ends in the compost. If you don't have scallions, you can also use onions, but cut them really nice and fine. Or early in the spring, you can use the wild chives. They are kind of a little bit like a spring onion in the wild. They also taste very good, but I think I didn't show you that. Now we want about 1/2 cup. Let's see how much we have here. No, it's not enough yet. A little bit more. If you cut it a bit at an angle, it comes off easier. Oops, I lost one. And clean it up afterwards. All right. Okay. Now they go into the frying pan. Saute them a little bit. So we will use this parsley. Try to chop it fine. Don't chop your fingers, just chop the parsley. Always adds a nice fresh flavor to it. But you don't want to use the stems, just the leaves. Right, I'm going to put this into a bowl. We only need 1/4 cup. Here's the 1/4 cup. forgot. In this recipe, it doesn't ask for so much. But we will save this for another dish. I know many children, they like to pick out the onions, but especially onions which aren't cooked well. If they are cooked well, in some oil or butter, mostly people don't even notice they're eating them. Now you'll see this will be a surprise, how this big mountain will start to shrink, but not immediately. You'll see. I can't put it all in at once. Give it a little time. All right, we could do the eggs meanwhile. We take 4 eggs. Look, nice eggs from Weber Farm. 2. 3. And 4. All right. Let's check how these guys are doing. See, it's already becoming less. To shrink. Turn it up a little bit. Now I need to find something to stir up the eggs. Just need to get a little bit of beating. All right. See how the spinach is getting less and less? Not the spinach, the stinging nettle. Looking at the recipe, it says spinach, but I've changed it. I've changed it to using the nettles. Still needs a little more time. All right, meanwhile we can get the feta cheese ready. Nice Greek cheese. And we need a whole cup of that, I believe. Let's have a look. Make sure, yes, 1 cup of crumbled feta cheese. Get a spoon here. Ah, you can't even see what I'm doing. So look, here's the feta cheese. And I will add it to the eggs. Look how it's disappearing. Becoming just a little bit. Now I think I need to chop it once more. All right. Now I can chop it, but meanwhile, I'm going to take a little bit more olive oil and put some more of our greens in here. Oh, I'm spilling them. Look at this. Messy Elsa. Ha! All running away from me. All right. Let them have a little time while we do the chopping. Now. You see, it looks as if I'm mad or angry, but really, I'm trying to cook with love. That's the best ingredient for food. Now it goes into the big pot until the next load is ready. I did not have any fresh dill, so I'm going to have to use the dried dill, which also works. I take 1 tablespoon, the dried dill, add it. Here it is. I found it. Okay. How about some salt? Half a teaspoon of salt in. All right. I like to use the pink Himalayan salt. Always nice extra trace minerals in it. Look how our big mountain of leaves is shrinking again. We're almost there. It's getting less and less. I just want every leaf to wilt a little bit. Just start this journey of transformation by wilting first. Okay. Again, I will take this out. Over here on the chopping board. Ready to get a beating. And I'll put some more on meanwhile. There goes some more olive oil. All right. You can do your own thing while I do the chopping. We will melt some butter. It's 1½ sticks of butter. And I will melt them back here on the stove. Maybe it's all ready when we're done with the spinach and the nettles. Now come the spinach. You can see right there. Together. I'm putting the parsley in with the eggs. So here we have the eggs and the feta cheese and the salt. A little pepper would be good. How about that? And a dash of nutmeg. But let's do the pepper first. Just black pepper. See here the corns, and I grind it. Some people love pepper and they take a lot. I take just a little bit, not too much. There we go. And nutmeg. Nutmeg. Also just a dash of nutmeg in it. Alrighty. I think we're almost ready. Isn't it amazing how that big mountain becomes like nothing at all? Okay. Turn you off. Turn you out. Spatula. Scrape the last little leaves, the last little stems. All come out here. All right. You see, in the recipe it says 2 pounds of spinach. So I had 1 pound of spinach, and then I collected enough nettles to make up the other pound. See, the butter is starting to melt. We want it to melt slowly so it doesn't burn, doesn't get brown. We will use that for the phyllo dough. So the phyllo dough is a very special Greek dough. It's so thin. I've tried to make it. It is really hard to make it like that. It's so thin you could read a newspaper through it. But I haven't managed to make it. So it's a bought. It's a bought phyllo dough. The spinach had to cool down a little bit, because when we mix it with the eggs, it can't be too hot. Otherwise it cooks immediately. This seems to be good now. See, our butter is all melted meanwhile, just as we wanted. And now we can mix in our egg mix together with the different condiments. I hope that feta cheese is good enough. I haven't tried this kind before. I used to always have a big block and then crumple it up. This one already came crumpled. I hope it works. Here it goes. All right, now I will take a wooden spoon and stir it once more. Oh, it looks very dark. You know, I have the feeling I want to put a little more cheese in it. From when I'd done it before, it didn't look so dark. I'm going to add a little bit more of the feta cheese. I actually crumple it up again, because some pieces are sort of biggish. Has a very nice flavor, a little bit salty, the feta cheese, but lighter than the cheese which you would use on a pizza. Not a heavy cheese. I think it's made from sheep's milk. All right, I often change the recipes a little bit just to do it as it feels right. Okay, now I'm going to put this aside and prepare our phyllo dough. So here is this very delicate phyllo dough. See how thin they are, each leaf. It's like a tissue paper. Very, very thin. So I put this into my baking dish. Then I take a pastry brush and I use the melted butter and I brush the butter very gently. If I do it too rough, it will break. It's very, very delicate. Brush it all over. And then I take another sheet. Again, very thin sheet. And you can help me count. So this is number 2. 1, 2. We want to count to 7. Oh, this moved already. Again, we brush it with butter. And the next one, which is number 3. Here comes number 3. Again, we brush it. Not too much, just so it's covered. It makes it taste very good. Now comes number 4. Oh, I'm so clumsy. Here we go. Number 4. Again, we brush it with some butter. Gently. Like having a painting lesson again, only this time it's butter. And it doesn't change the color very much, a little bit. All right, which number is it now? Who can remember? If I could hear you, I bet some of you will say, number 5. Okay. You just have to be very patient till it's all done. Okay. What comes after 5? Everybody knows. Only I can get it. There it is. Here, number 6. Spread it out gently and give it its topping. And now comes already our last layer. Number 7. Okay. You know, croissants are made like that. Very thin layers, and then butter, and then another thin layer, folded over, butter, folded over. Here we go. Here comes the filling for our pie. Can you believe that huge mountain we had just became so little? Pounds of greens, some eggs and cheese. That's almost it. Oh, we spread it out nicely. And we try not to disturb the layers underneath. Okay. Now, we again put a cover on it with 7 more leaves of phyllo dough. 7 more sheets. Oh, it's sticking a bit. There you go. And we brush it just like we did before. You can see how the nettles and the spinach start peeking through a bit. But only for the first couple layers, then you don't see them anymore. And at the end, it gives one more brushing with butter. All right. So this will be our Spanakopita. I'm going to cut off the extra dough on the side. A little bit more than what we need. Okay, that can go in here. And same over here, because it just turns like paper if you leave it like that. It's not so tasty, but it's very tasty when it's mixed with the spinach and nettles and with the butter and cheese. It makes it so yummy. All right. So here is our spinach pie, Spanakopita in Greek, but actually it's made with our stinging nettles, right from the woods. You put it in the oven at 350 and bake it for about 40 minutes, and then it will be ready.